Hey, my friends, Mike Shreve here, and welcome to the No Pants Show. As you can see, I am back home. We just pulled in not that long ago to come home after our vacation, so everyone's really tired. We're putting everybody to bed, and I want to get this episode out to you today because we have something very, very important to talk about. I don't know if you've seen what's been going on in the online space. Facebook is crazy. Email open rates are down. Facebook's changing everything. It is getting harder and harder to stand out, to use the old ways of getting clients, the old ways of marketing, and all these sorts of things. And so in this episode, I want to take you back to the basics, the stuff that works on the human-to-human level, to make sure that you're not getting stuck on tactics, that instead you are utilizing strategies based on, being a good human person, right? Because everything else is going to change. All the Facebook and YouTube and all that stuff's going to change. If you're trying to build a career now, in 10, 15, 20 years, what you do to get clients from a tactics standpoint will change. That's a guarantee. What you do from a strategy standpoint, however, will likely not change if you're doing the right strategy, right? So I want to talk about 3 things that freelancers, that's you, should never do, okay? These are ultimate no-nos in freelancing. It's lying, stealing, and burning bridges, okay? Okay, that's the end of the show. No, what I actually want to break down is each one of these, because sometimes you may actually accidentally do this stuff, okay? And so I want to make sure that you aren't doing that and give you some tips and tricks on how to deal with that, especially the burning the bridges piece. Okay, so number 1, the thing that freelancer must never do is to lie. Okay, now you may accidentally be lying, and so we need to make sure that you aren't. The first thing that I see all the time with freelancers is they think they can teach something that they don't do themselves. Okay, when they're in their prospecting. So whether that's writing a blog post or whether it's doing a Facebook Live like this, I see some of you have been following my lead. Not that I'm the first one to ever do this, but you've seen me do these Facebook Lives and you're like, ooh, I want to do those too. Awesome, I love that you're doing that. But when you try to teach something to someone else that you don't currently do, it actually harms your credibility. Now listen, look, I could probably, if I researched hard enough and did enough work and read enough blog posts, I could probably actually teach someone how to get big muscles, even though I don't have them, right? That is not a big deal. Like if you're helping them to do that, okay, that happens all the time. Most Olympic coaches don't look like Olympic athletes, right? Some of them were, right? Okay. But if I were to create material to market myself as an expert in getting buff with this body, you as a prospect would probably be like, yeah, right. That guy doesn't know what he's talking about because he clearly isn't doing what he is teaching. So one of the ways that freelancers accidentally lie, it's perceived as dishonesty, is by teaching people things that they don't currently do or they never have done in the past. So if you're doing these Facebook Lives, if you're sending out daily emails, if you are doing blog posts, whatever it is you're doing, make sure that you're talking about stuff that you could back up with, hey, look, here's, no, really, I really actually do this. Here it is. Not because I don't think that people can't teach others how to do stuff even if they've never done it. It's because it harms your credibility as a freelancer if you do that. I saw recently online, someone said how to grow groups, and then they had a thing that says come to our group, right? It was like, here's this free training on how to grow Facebook groups. You have to opt in to get it. And then it said how to grow groups, and the group had like 10 people in it. Right? Like, come join our group. It had 10 people. The people who see that thing, even though what they put in their download is perfect, it's exactly how you do actually grow Facebook groups, because they put those two things together, they lost all credibility. All credibility went out the door because they didn't actually do what they were trying to teach others to do. Okay, number 2. The number 2 thing that people freelancers do to accidentally lie is that they take credit or they claim work that they didn't do. Okay, now this is big, especially if you're in the marketing space, meaning you do social media marketing for people, or you write for people, or you do Facebook ads for people, or any of these types of things, you'll find that in a lot of these industries, there is name dropping. So, well, I wrote for the president of the U, and I wrote for the king of, and I wrote for this person. And a lot of freelancers will name drop to close a deal. I personally don't like doing that myself, but it is an effective method. Like if you do have names to drop, go for it. I personally don't. I think it's slightly tacky, but that's, that's the way you want to do it. Go for it. However, make sure you get permission from the person, okay? Because you may perceive that what you have done for that person is what helped them to get a certain result. They may not see it that way. And so when you start name dropping their name, what may happen is that might get back to that person. And then that person is going to be like, oh no, we didn't succeed because what they did. We succeeded because we had all this other stuff going on that we didn't even tell them was going on. That's why we actually succeeded. Why is that person out there making claims on my behalf that they did this certain thing? Okay. That again, you're not actually lying, but it is perceived as a lie by prospects. So if you're going to do the name dropping, make sure you double, triple check with the client whose name you're dropping that what you're claiming you did, you actually did. Okay. I remember somebody recently name dropped a certain client that we had both shared, and they had been name dropping this person around, and they didn't themselves know that the work that they had submitted had actually been like tossed in the garbage, and then they just said, okay, thank you for your work, goodbye. And so they were out like making these claims that they had worked for this person, and when in fact the client was like, no, I mean, we paid them because we were, whatever, we paid them for their work, but we didn't actually use it, right? So be careful when you're claiming or taking credit for work that you may have or have not done. Check it through your clients before you start name dropping and things like that. Okay, the third way that freelancers sometimes accidentally lie is when they overestimate the work that they're, like the amount of work, so the hours, the deadlines, when they overestimate and they say, I've done 100 emails today, and really they did 25, right? It's human nature to overestimate. Like one of the things that I like to do, let's see if it may actually be in my backpack. We haven't yet unpacked for my trip yet. One of the things I like to do is take a little 3x5. I've shown them to you guys before. It's the little yellow pads, little tiny ones. It's not around here, but little tiny yellow pad. And I'll actually say, okay, so for example, 7:59 p.m., doing Facebook Live until whatever, 8:15 p.m. or whatever it is we end up going tonight. And then 8:15 p.m. to whatever, putting the kids down, blah, blah, blah. And I'll literally track exactly what I did from minute to minute, right? If you do that right now, I promise you, you will find that there are huge gaps in your schedule in which you are wasting, even though it feels like you're working. Right? So if you're like on the computer and then you watch like 3 YouTube videos and you're like, oh, I only watched like 5 minutes of YouTube videos, but you actually watch the clock and it's like, oh crap, that was 45 minutes. And then, overestimating your contribution. There's someone that I hired recently within the past year who's no longer with me, who would overestimate. She was saying that she was doing 12-hour days, she was taking a certain amount of calls, was doing more than 100 emails a day, et cetera, for one of the businesses that I have. And when I dug in to what she was actually doing, I kind of just turned a blind eye. I was like, okay, I trust you, whatever. Turn a blind eye. When I actually dug in and saw what was being accomplished, it wasn't 12 hours a day. It wasn't 100 emails a day. It wasn't that many calls a day. It wasn't even a 12th of what she was claiming. And so because of that, even though maybe for her it felt that way, because it wasn't the reality, that relationship ended. We don't work together anymore. I had to let her go because the claims that she was making and then the bill that she was charging me for it and all of this craziness, because she had overestimated her own work contribution, I guess you could call it, okay? So that's, again, another way that freelancers sometimes, honestly, accidentally lie. So check yourself as you're going through this particular process. Okay, Yes, I see some people being awesome. I see your comments. Hey guys, amen to that, Mike. And name dropping is absolutely tacky if done needlessly. Corey, agreed. Mike Matthew says, love that idea. Keep everyone focused. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so let's go on to number 2, burn bridges. This is something that you absolutely must never, ever, never, ever, 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 ever do as a freelancer is burn bridges. Listen very carefully. The only asset that you possess as a freelancer is relationships. That's it. That's the only thing you can cash in, take to the bank and cash in. You don't own the website, the hosting company does. You don't own your Facebook page, Facebook does. You don't own your email list, the autoresponder company does, and they can shut it down whenever they want it. You don't own anything except for the relationships that you build. Therefore, a freelancer who burns bridges is like a real estate developer who lights their investment properties on fire just for no reason. And that portfolio gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. So here's another truth about burning bridges. You might say, well, Mike, what if I don't like working with this client? That's cool. Let me tell you a truth about freelancing. Every single relationship that you have will end. Every single one. The good ones and the bad ones. And that's because business changes. Companies go in and out of business. Sometimes what you do gets people to a certain point and they don't need you anymore because you successfully did what you were supposed to do. It could be a wonderful, amazing, awesome relationship, but that may happen. Some people pass away, unfortunately, or health issues, say that they can't run my business anymore, etc., etc. Every single relationship in business ends at some point. Maybe you retire, right? Like whatever happens, every single one ends. Therefore, you as a freelancer must develop the skill of exiting relationships without burning bridges. Let me give you 4 things that I incorporate regularly whenever I have to end relationships. And that happens. It's sometimes I end them, sometimes they end them, good and bad reasons, whatever. First, if you're the freelancer, give advanced notice. Do not end whatever you're doing last minute, even if it's a bad client. Remember, I'm saying don't burn any bridge, even the clients you really, really don't like. Number 2, don't leave or don't quit a relationship or don't check out, excuse me, for an emotionally, or for like an outburst reason, meaning, let's say that someone says something to you and it somehow touched some nerve, something back in your childhood that messed up, and they were somehow found it and they said something and it just, whoa, and you blow up. That's the last moment of all moments working with a client that you want to make the decision about whether to stick around or to leave. And the reason is because in those moments when you're thinking emotionally and it's like rage emotion, it's very, very difficult, even for someone like me who has, ended relationships and has had relationships end in the business world. It's very difficult in that moment to end a relationship without burning a bridge. So whenever you have that outburst, I recommend at least, and it's going to sound crazy, at least 72 hours of rest. The bigger the outburst where it's like, I'm gonna die, I recommend even a longer rest than that, okay? So wait, let the emotions come, feel them, do what you need to do. Honestly, my favorite tool for a freelancing business is a punching bag. I've got a punching bag in my garage. It literally is my favorite tool for dealing with clients because it gets me through that 24 to 72 hours when sometimes I just need to take a break, okay? So when you do make those decisions to separate, make sure that they are business decisions, understanding that you are the top producer of your business, and so if what they are doing is not allowing you to produce your best work, that is a business reason to stop working with someone. So if it's a consistent, man, I really don't like this person, whatever it is that we're doing together is not working, then that's when you need to end the relationships, and it would be considered a business only type of decision. Okay, number 3 on how to make sure that you don't burn bridges is come up with a plan for your client. Who are they going to hire in your stead? And how is the transition going to go? Don't put the impetus on them. Don't give them more work because you want to end the relationship. In every single one of where I've had to fire a client, except for one, I have replaced myself or put together a plan to help them replace me with someone else. The one person, the one client that I did not replace myself with was because I ended that relationship because they assumed they had replaced me. That business is no longer in business. Okay, so normally in a regular sort of situation, I try to at least find someone else who can take my place, and then I make sure there's a plan in place for the separation to go smoothly. Okay, now if you're part of, I think somewhere on this video, there's a link to our open community where a bunch of other freelancers are. If you don't know who can replace you, go to that open community, make some friends, connect with some other freelancers so that you can make that transition. Here's an example inside of our coaching program. We had this one woman who had this discovery call with this very like hardcore. There was like 4 people on the call on the other end. It was like the CEO and the marketing director, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And for this particular student of mine, she was like, I do not want this client at all. This is not I want to work with small businesses, owners only. And so what we did is we took that same offer. These people needed help. They needed a freelancer, and we put it out into the No Pants Project student coaching group, and we found out that there were tons of people who that's exactly who they wanted to work with. So just because stuff bothers you about a client doesn't mean you can't, there's not someone in your circle who would just like love to work with this person. Prevents you from burning bridges, and it makes you look really, really good to the person who, both the person you're helping to get the gig, but also to the person who is going to be receiving this new person to come in and replace you, because you never know. 6 months down the road, you might need to be coming back, maybe with your tail between your legs a little bit. Life happens. You may need a little bit of extra money. Like, hey, remember me? Do you have anything available? And they'll be like, oh, I remember you. You replaced yourself with Sarah. She's been so awesome. Here's some other stuff that we're doing now, et cetera, et cetera. Number 4 of how to prevent burning bridges. You can see that this is mostly a video about how to not burn bridges. It's because it's that important. Number 4 is don't you ever vent online in public about your client. Listen, clients are humans too. Just like when a boyfriend and a girlfriend, or a boyfriend, girlfriend, whenever a relationship ends online, the exes will lurk each other on all of the social media, okay? Even if they're the ones who broke it off. So if you are let go, if you end a relationship, going online, publicly naming and shaming, complaining and whining about they're terrible, don't ever work with them, et cetera, don't do it. Because number 1, your former client is going to see that, and you could get in trouble. There are instances where doing that can get you in some kind of trouble. But number 2, future clients who watch you do this will see you as a liability. They will see you as a fireball, where if they aren't walking on eggshells, you may do that same thing to them, and it will turn them off. You'll lose credibility. You lose credibility when you go online and vent in public about someone that you had a working relationship with. It is not fair, because it's really fun to say something on social media and have a bunch of people like comment and be like, oh, and like kind of dogpile and be like, oh, that totally sucks. They're terrible. That feels really, really good. But to be professional, to maintain credibility as a freelancer in 2018, where people will lurk you on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and all of these sorts of things, you have to maintain level-headedness whenever relationships break off. Those are the 4 things that I do whenever I have to end a relationship to prevent burning of bridges. Let me give you 2 examples. One is a certain company has recently shut down and had to lay off some of its workers. I've seen several of those workers, including one of the high-profile person in that organization, do exactly what I said. Named, shamed, complained, whined, and it's gotten picked up by some journalists. And these journalists are now basically ramming her reputation into the ground, okay? She's going to have a very, very hard time finding new employment or getting freelancing jobs because she went and did this thing. You just never know, you guys. You don't know what crazy mechanisms in the interwebs are going to pick up what you're doing and just put it where you don't want people to see, okay? So that's the first story. And then the second story is recently I had someone who was working with me on one of my projects. It may or may not be the same person that we were talking about earlier, who unfortunately told me everything's fine, everything's fine, everything's fine, everything's fine. And then just like that, snap of fingers, within a 24-hour period, sent me a Skype message to quit and was like, I'm done right now. Even after multiple phone calls and reconfirmation, are you sure? Let's put a plan in place if you need to take time off. And like, I was trying to be like really flexible about it. Unfortunately, that person, even though that person is amazing and wonderful and awesome and the best ever, I cannot trust anymore from a standpoint of me being able to hire that person because I don't know when she's coming or going. Right? Okay, so it happens a lot. And if you can be the freelancer who doesn't burn bridges, I promise you will build up equity in relationships, called relationship equity. That is, my friends, your portfolio as a freelancer. It's the only asset that you control. The more positive relationships you have, the easier your life will be as a freelancer. Easier to get referrals, easier to reach out for help whenever you need it. Just yesterday, I think we talked about the 5-day challenge. Some of you responded to the 5-day challenge and said, well, all of my old clients, I kind of burn bridges with them. I can't send them an email asking for referrals. That's what happens if you burn the bridge, right? So even people you don't like don't burn bridges. You can always tap into that later on. Okay, beat that one to death, all right? Number 3, the last thing that freelancers should never do, or at least of these 3, is to steal. Freelancers steal all the time, and I don't think that they know that they are stealing. Intellectual property laws exist, you guys. Don't steal client stuff. A lot of times I see people, like if they work on, especially like with what I do, where they work on building a funnel or they're doing ads or something, they'll steal what a client does and then give it to another client. That is, first off, they better be careful. Depending on the size of the client, depending on what intellectual property you're taking, you can get in massive trouble for doing that. Secondly, if the client, so like let's say you stole from client A to give to client B, and I'm talking like there's a Facebook ad that's working really, really well, and you literally just like copy paste it and then maybe tweak a few things, but like not enough for it to be original, and then you give it to client B. If client B finds out that you're stealing from client A, if they see that ad being run by someone else on their Facebook post, or they see that funnel somewhere, or they see that blog post or content somewhere, they're going to want to know what's going on. Are you double dipping? And you could get in trouble for the client that you're trying to help. Okay, so don't steal intellectual property. Don't take client stuff and use it as your own. If a client's doing something really good, don't steal their ideas and like try to build your own business off of it. Don't steal their branding. Don't steal their intellectual property, like the coding that they use. There's a lot of things that freelancers just take without thinking about the consequences, which are oftentimes legal consequences. Okay, so be careful. Don't steal client stuff. And then the second thing is don't steal clients, right? So a really tacky thing to do is to get a client who knows a lot of people and then have that client like introducing you to people and then sideswiping them and doing all these backdoor deals without letting that person who introduced you to these other people know what it is that you're doing. No backdoor deals, no being sneaky, don't steal clients from people. And the last thing, the third thing, which is kind of what we talked about in the beginning where we talked about lying, is don't steal time, okay? Respect your own time and respect the time of your clients for which they are paying you. Even in a packaged services situation where it's not hourly, you have to make sure that when you sit down to work. Again, I'm going to pound this until everyone is time blocking everything they ever do, but time blocking will prevent you from stealing time. Time blocking is simply, okay, from 9 to 10, I'm going to work on client X's sales page. And that's all I'm going to do from 9 to 10. No distractions. Everything's off my desk. The internet is on only for what I need. Otherwise, it's shut down. From 9 to 10, here we go. And done. And then at 10 o'clock, go play video games. Go watch a YouTube video. Go hang out with your kids. And come back at 10:30 for another time block session. 10:30 to 11 o'clock. Client Z. I'm going to do XYZ. Boom. Half an hour. Okay. Then after that, go be distracted. Do whatever you need to do. But don't steal time. Okay, my friends, that's it. The 3 things that freelancers should never do. Number 1, lie. Number 2, burn bridges. And number 3, steal. Don't steal. Okay, my friends, let's see what some of y'all said here. Check it before you wreck it. Heck yeah. Let's see. Corey says, that's exactly why I practice karate. Some of you heard that one of my favorite tools for freelancing is a punching bag to get through some of those clients. Brian says, 100% stealing the punching bag idea. Definitely go for it. Speaking from experience, you did very well. Corey Schwartz. Yes, Corey was a client of mine in the past. And it was one that we broke off, not at least from my end. I think Corey's awesome and amazing. But at the time, I was just like getting crushed by work, right? So it's awesome that Corey's here. And by the way, you guys, Corey's an awesome client. Not to like bombard him, but Corey is a really cool client. All right. Mike says, waves in Klingon. Hello, Michael. How are you, sir? Corey says, I don't pull work from my full-time job for a portfolio exactly for the intellectual property reason that work is not technically mine because I did not design it. There you go. Especially if you guys are a work for hire, which is what most freelancers are. If you're a work for hire, you don't actually own what you made. Okay, now I'm not an attorney, so this is not legal advice, but my understanding as far as I've understood it and through my career is that if you're a work for hire, you don't own it. So you have to be careful. Excuse me. Matthew says, what sort of resources do you recommend for time blocking? Definitely like Google search it and YouTube search it because there's all sorts of different cool ways. I prefer the Pomodoro method, which is actually about a 30-minute time. So you only time block for about 30 minutes, and then you take like a 10 to 15-minute break, literally step away from what it is that you're doing. So 33 minutes of, or it's like 30 to 33 minutes of focus, and literally all you need is a timer. I just use an egg timer. You can use a timer online. What the key to time blocking is not to say I'm going to have 4 time blocking sessions. It's to say the night before, or maybe even on Sunday, you plan your whole week. Although I just do the night before because things get crazy. Say tomorrow, time blocking session number 1 is going to be about X. And it needs to be super, super clear and specific about what it is during that 30-minute time, okay? Set your timer, 30 minutes, put down what you're supposed to be doing, and just do that thing. When the timer goes off, step away. Go outside, get a drink. Like, take the breaks that your traditional job doesn't let you take, but your body is actually designed to take, right? Run around, do something, and then come back down. Okay, again, 33 minutes. What am I doing on this session? Okay, I planned it out yesterday. Here's exactly what I'm going to do. It's like I'm always talking about, like learning how to say no. It's easier to say no when you have the time blocking planned because you can say, oh, no, sorry, from this time to this time, it's not taking calls. It's not doing emails. It's not jumping to your fire that you need me to put out. It's doing this thing that I have right now on my calendar for 30 minutes. So hopefully that answers your question. Michael says, P.S. You're awesome, Mike. Don't forget to breathe on occasion. Actually, if you guys are in the open group, tomorrow I'm going to ask for a workout program. Some suggestions because, man, I've packed it on this past year. Let me tell you. So Andrea says, thank you so much. I love all this advice. You are very welcome, Andrea. Michael Bankston says, PPS, you have an inbox coming to, oh, yes, Michael, I did see that email. I will check my PO box here in the next couple of days. Brian asks, do you have courses? Yes, sir, I do. I've got the No Pants Project program, which is a coaching program, but it's not like a traditional coaching program. If you go to nopantsproject.com, you can watch a training that I give. Just the training alone is just watch it anyways, whether you get in the program or not, right? At the end of that, you'll be invited to the No Pants Project program, which is kind of like a 0 to full-time freelancing within 90-day type of program. Then I have another program called the Fast Client Getting Workshop, which is basically like if you need clients really, really fast and you don't necessarily know what you know how to get clients, but and I'm talking like fast, like 12 to 24 hours type fast. That's Fast Client Getting Workshop. And I've got some other little ones, but those are kind of like the two main ones that people tend to kind of purchase over and over again and refer their friends and all that kind of stuff. So those are the courses. I don't typically like really hard sell them. If you want to know more about them, actually join us in the free open group somewhere here. There should be a link. Hang out with us for a while. See if we're the kind of people you want to be hanging out with. We are quirky. We're called the No Pants Project, so just keep that in mind as well. Let's see. Matt says that makes a lot of sense. I get too focused on something and simply lose track of time. Yeah, so time blocking is good because it encapsulates. There's also something called the Parkinson's Law. The Parkinson's Law says that every project expands to fit the time constraints it's given. So one of the cool things about time blocking is you'll find you get really fast. You actually get faster because you're saying, I'm going to take all day to do this one thing. I'm going to say, okay, now I have like 2 sessions of 33 minutes to get this done. And Parkinson's Law will work in your favor to where if you hold yourself to those time blocking constraints, you will actually, you won't take shortcuts, but things where you may have spent like an hour just thinking about and like not making a decision and procrastinating, that stuff goes away because you are basically trying to fit it into the time blocking schedule that you have created. Okay. So, all right, my friends, that is it for today. I got to go put some kids to bed. I hope that you have an awesome and amazing day. Remember, the 3 things that freelancers must never do is lie, burn bridges, or steal. Those are the 3 things. This should, as soon as I hit end, be set up as a replay somewhere so y'all can check that out. If you aren't a member of our open community, it should be above this video, or it might even be on this side or this side of the video, a link to our open community. It's an online Facebook group. There's like 8,000 or 9,000 people in there. We like to have fun, all kinds of cool stuff in there. Great resource, great people. Like, I would love to take credit for it, but it's not me at all. I'm like not in it that much. It's just a lot of really good people in that community. So that's it, my friends. I hope you have an awesome one. I will be back to see you tomorrow with some good stuff. I will talk to you later.